Today on Dr. Phil.
I can't stand my mom. I don't know anybody who can be sober around her.
An obsessed mom.
She says you stalk her. Did you chase her through the neighborhood?
A devious daughter.
You leave your job to go home and wake her up so she's not late for her job.
Alarm clocks couldn't wake her up.
I'm a very heavy sleeper.
You won't believe what happened
You get kicked out of the Roosevelt Hotel.
the night before the show.
This guy was completely out of control.
He wanted to report that Candace attempted to rape him.
He got into the bed and took off his clothes. I don't put up with that kind of stuff.
Oh, hell no. You draw the line there. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Hey, how are you? See you, guys. Well, I want you to meet Candace. She's tall, beautiful, bold, and confident. Just ask her. She'll tell you that not only is she hot, she's classy, whip smart, fun to be around, and people always notice her. Now, her mother, Constance, disagrees and says it's all an act. The Louis Vuitton, the Mercedes, the designer clothes, and the bravado. She says Candace is really a lying, thieving, drug-addicted master manipulator and con artist. Things are so bad between the two that Mom says the police have been called at least 10 times in the past year. Now, how did Candace go from an honor roll student to out of work, out of control, and running out of time? Take a look.
I have a sick-ass relationship with my mother. She controls every single aspect of my life. And my mom and I fight every single day.
What do you expect from me? You expect me to keep throwing money at you, Candace?
Can get to the point where we can almost kill each other.
Fits of rage, anger. The cops have been to our house so many times, they know us, and they're a little tired of it.
A week ago, I chose to go out with some friends. My mother hopped in her work van and followed me.
Went around the corner to go see what was going on, and she's hopping in the car with 2 very shady-looking characters. And I screamed, I said, don't let her in your car and don't take her.
We were yelling, screaming.
I just didn't want her to go use. It scared me.
I lost it completely.
She flipped out, swung her purse, broke the mirror on the vehicle I was driving, telling me she hated me.
When I was 23 years old, I wanted to get breast implants. So I opened a credit card in my mom's name.
I ended up paying them off.
Last year, I opened up another credit card under my mom's name. I spent $3,000. My mom still pays the bill for that. A year ago, I purchased a $30,000 Mercedes. I manipulated paycheck stubs to show that I was making $80,000, $90,000 a year. I hadn't worked for about 2 years. It's absolutely insane.
I don't know why she's not in jail.
My mom needs to leave me and my life alone and just stop.
The last thing you said in that little tape piece there, you said, is my mother just needs to leave my life alone.
Yeah, she needs to live her life and I need to live mine.
Okay, you're how old?
I'll be 30 in a month.
Okay, and you live where?
With my mother. I know, and I knew that that would be brought up. Right.
So what the hell are you doing living with your mother at 30 years old?
Well, I have been spoon-fed my entire life, so I wouldn't even know what to do if I moved out. I mean, she does my laundry for me.
Have you crippled her to the point of dependency that she has to live with you?
Actually, I probably have. I've enabled her. I've paid a lot of car payments, a lot of bills, fines.
We're not talking about car payments. We're talking about, she says she doesn't know how to wash her underwear.
Well, I do that because I'm kind of particular about, making full loads and washing whites with whites. So it's my stuff, yeah. And I probably should have stopped that a long time ago, among a lot of other things. True. I should have made her dependent a long time ago, or independent, excuse me.
Yeah.
I made her dependent, yeah.
Yeah, well, Freud gets it right once in a while. So, do you want her gone?
My heart really does want her gone. I just feel like I'm protecting her from the world because I don't like her choices at all.
Okay, so you're doing this to protect her.
I believe
How's that working for you?
it's not working for me.
She wants me to live up to what she thinks I should be doing. Like, basically,
Just
I'm
normal.
never good enough.
Just
Or whatever
normal.
I'm doing
I just
is,
want normal.
Oh, normal. Do you know how many times I hear normal on a daily basis? Normal's boring.
She says you stalk her.
Okay, stalking. Gosh, I fear. I'm scared to death for her. I'm scared to death every time she walks out the door. And that incident that happened last Friday.
She said you chased her through the neighborhood
That's true.
recently.
Last Friday, yes. I get home from work, she meets me outside, she wants $20 to go eat something with a friend, and then I get in the house and I'm rethinking this whole situation. She wants $20 and she says she doesn't want the person to know where we live, and she's walking down the street. Oh, I hopped in that car.
She has to know their name, phone numbers.
No.
She wants me to take selfies with
No.
people I'm with.
Yeah.
Bring receipts of what I spend the money on. It's ridiculous.
Everything's a lie, Dr. Phil, though. Everything's a lie. If I give her money, she says it's for this, it's never for that.
Because I don't need to.
Well, don't ask me for money then.
Well, then don't give it
ask
to me.
Did you chase her through the neighborhood?
I chased down those people in that car, and I told them, don't let my daughter in that car. And then I continued to chase her, and I was in a roundabout, and we were going roundabout, and she's chasing me with a purse.
She's 30, living with you. She's going off with some people, and you're chasing her through the neighborhood around a circle.
Absolutely.
Reversing and
I was
skirting around the neighborhood, and I'm running with
the
my
police
bag.
were called by neighbors for that.
You're running.
Completely.
Does this seem reasonable to you, Mom?
We went swimming after that together at my uncle's house. That's how sick it is.
We talked about the incident, we cried together, and then it was such a hot day in Northern California, we did go swimming.
Am I getting punked here?
Dr. Phil, I wish
You're
I could.
chasing
I
her
wish
through
I
the
could-
neighborhood. You're tearing the mirrors off the van. You're slinging your purse, chasing her, so you don't get in the car, and then you say, oh, what the hell, let's go swimming.
Oh, this is after the police came to our house.
Oh, excuse me, I skipped the police. I'm sorry.
I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because isn't this like trip number 10?
Yeah, like when they come up to the house, it's Candace, what's going on?
First name basis, right?
I've called
Yeah,
them several
absolutely.
times because I've had crazy in my home.
They're like, get coffee, get donuts, go by Constance's house, go.
I see
Yeah,
what her
they're-
daughter's up
yeah.
to. Oh,
Yeah, it's a regular thing.
And you say you're trying to protect her, but she had a job. You leave your job for an hour to go home and wake her up and fix her something to eat so she's not late for her job.
I would leave my job, yes, I did. And I had neighbors, I called neighbors
I'm a
and
heavy
family.
sleeper, Dr. Phil.
Heavy sleeper.
Very heavy sleeper.
Oh, this is after purchasing 2 separate alarm clocks with high decibels that couldn't wake her up either.
I'm a
Because she's
heavy
up all
sleeper.
night doing
So what are you
whatever.
going to do, right?
I know,
you gotta
what- I
go
know,
drive
I know.
home and wake her up and fix her something to eat.
And that was very recent,
dress her
Dr.
and
Phil.
get her to work, right?
I didn't
What's a mother to do?
get a life, that's what, get a life.
She feels like she can't.
But you manipulate everybody. This isn't just your parents, right?
Yeah, I know. It hasn't just been.
You've even tried to manipulate my staff since you've been here, right?
No. But I'm sure you can probably bring something up that I'd love to see what you'd like to explain. Or,
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do this. I'm curious what.
Well, here's a text exchange from Candace to our PA Elizabeth demanding alcohol. Candace, so I just checked in and I can't
Absolutely.
spend allowance on alcoholic drinks? That's a problem. Candace, I'm not going to eat $225 worth of food, and I plan to drink while I'm in LA. So our PA, Elizabeth, says, well, we don't provide alcoholic beverages, only food. Candace, okay, I'm out. I'm not doing that then because my mother gave me $30.
That is
Our PA, Elizabeth, says, well, we can't give you money for alcohol because it's liability for the show. We can pay for food and non-alcoholic beverages, but that's it. Candace, then I'm leaving because I want to enjoy myself like everyone else here is. I don't eat food.
I walked into a Miley
I could
Cyrus
care
party.
less about food. It didn't stop there. Next, I got a phone call from a security guard at the famous Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood. It's the first time they've ever called, and you will not believe why. I'll tell you after the break. Constance says her daughter Candace's life is on self-destruct, and she thinks she's running out of time. Candace turns 30 in a few weeks. She lives at home. According to Mom, Candace has been fired from 8 jobs, fraudulently obtained 2 cars, lies and steals regularly, and has no plan to change anytime soon.
I've noticed that when I am actually working, I have less money than when I'm not. Because it's cut off at that point, oh, you're working, that,
That's
Well, and there's less time to plot
it's exhausting.
and steal.
Dr. Phil, it's been exhausting.
Well, I mean, really, work is exhausting, and you have less time to plan and steal and come up with schemes. You're staying at the Roosevelt Hotel. This is in Hollywood. We're talking about the world-famous Roosevelt Hotel. If you get sideways with the Roosevelt Hotel, you've got to have gone way off the rails. Here's a statement from the security supervisor from Candace's hotel. On August 31st, at approximately 22:09 hours, a Hispanic male was walked off property via valet. He walked back on property via the orange exit and spoke with Assistant Director Corey Johnson. The Hispanic male stated that he wanted to report that the guest in room 309, Candace, attempted to rape him. He eventually walked off the property and did not return. Well, that wasn't the end of it, because then, Candace, you went downstairs. Approximately 10 minutes later, Candace went to the front desk and stated that she wanted to change rooms because there was a Hispanic male who took his clothes off in front of her and her friend and attempted to get in bed with her. Now, Mr. Johnson spoke with Candace concerning the incident that happened in her room and stated that Candace walked off and went back to her room when he was trying to acquire more information from the front desk. At 23:09 hours, Mr. Johnson made contact with Candace and advised that she is on a final warning. And if we have any other issues from her, they would be asked to leave the hotel. What the hell was going on?
This little boy was downstairs and he came up to the room to have a drink with my friend and I and some other people. He got into the bed and took off his clothes. This guy was completely out of control, and we had to get him to leave. So he made up this story, went downstairs, told them this crazy story. So I had overheard that, and I went downstairs and asked to switch rooms. I don't put up with that kind of stuff.
Oh, no, hell no, you.
I don't.
You draw the line.
I do, though.
what? It's all-
Absolutely.
You draw the
I will
line
not
there,
go there.
yeah.
It's not
Choices.
me.
Here again, these are choices.
But at that point, I was not even intoxicated. I was more disgusted. Yeah, completely.
I'm not surprised about any of this.
I can't imagine why we wouldn't give you money for alcohol.
Yeah.
I see what
Liability.
happened on your mother's $30.
I don't even know if I drank at that point either. But yeah, I'm not really a big drinker these days.
No, you're more into other things, right?
You know, Dr. Phil, it actually has gone from one addiction to another addiction to another, and it just jumps. I mean, it could be men, food, alcohol, drugs, pills.
Well, we're going to take a look at that after the break. We're going to see what the course of this history has been. Mom's been protecting her. We'll see how effective that has been. We'll see what the course of events has been. We're talking about 29 years here. Constance says her daughter is a full-blown addict, whether it's drinking, drugging, drama, or denial. Candace says there's just no way she could be sober around her mother, so drugs are her only escape. She says, I'll agree. She says, yeah, she does drugs, but she does it because nobody on the globe could be around this woman and be sober. We'll be right back. Says she's at her breaking point because her 29-year-old daughter, his life is just chaos. It's just absolute chaos. Drama, lying, stealing, and drug abuse. Take a look.
Because of Candace's drug abuse, everything's a problem no matter where she goes or whoever she deals with. Her life is all drama.
I do drugs because I can't stand my mom. She drives me nuts, and I don't know anybody who can be sober around her. I have used cocaine when I was younger, alcohol, Xanax, opiates, methamphetamine, heroin. I've used pretty much anything to escape my mother. I've gotten money for drugs by stealing, and I've sold prescription drugs. I've made around $10,000 off of selling pills.
I just had foot surgery 5 days ago. I was given a prescription for painkillers. The next morning I woke up and they're missing.
Back in May, I was under the influence of Xanax. I fell asleep at the wheel, and I ended up flipping a $30,000 Mercedes 6 to 8 times. Recently, I did get drugs on credit. I did not pay him back. He found me and jumped in my car. He was hitting me. I was terrified. I thought that he was actually going to kill me.
Because of Candace's drug use, I even had drug dealers show up at my house and demand money from me. I told Candace I wanted to call the police, and she said, no, we can't do that with these people. Don't do that. They'll come back. They'll hurt us. They'll hurt you. They know where I live. Drugs are controlling her life. I'm afraid she's going to die.
Do you have any plan for changing this? Are you going to be living with your mother when you're 40, 50, 60? What's your plan?
Honestly, I have no idea yet. I mean, the ideal plan would be to do something that I love doing, okay, career-wise.
But you're a heavy sleeper.
Exactly. I would need like a night job.
Yeah.
Which would not be allowed because my curfew is like 9 p.m. on work days, so.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. And I just want to pick this up at like age 20. We could go back, but at age 20, at this point, you're regularly stealing, pawning, and selling your mother's belongings. Right?
Right.
At age 20, that's your first arrest for forgery. And the forgery was you, right?
Correct.
She's signing checks.
Correct.
And going through that. Okay, so at age 22, you actually are arrested. You're resisting arrest, public intoxication. This is to the point that they've got to tase you to get you under control. Age 24, you're arrested again on a warrant. You didn't finish community service. You're arrested for fighting in public, and you're arrested for DUI.
Within about 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, age 27, you're arrested again. You're resisting arrest again. You're publicly drunk again.
Nobody else
You're
wants to
assaulting
be
a
arrested.
police officer again, but this time you also assault an EMT.
Yeah.
And you're violating probation. Why are you assaulting an EMT? They're generally there to help.
Right. Alcohol was involved with every single arrest. And when I drink, I
Yeah,
get...
you just pointed out you're not much of a drinker.
Well,
All right, age
After
28,
that, yeah.
you bought a Mercedes-Benz with fake pay stubs,
that were legit, yeah.
but you altered them.
Absolutely.
That they're not legit.
Well, mathematically, they were right on point as far as taxes and everything else.
I'm sorry?
Like mathematically, with the taxes and the percentages and the amounts, everything added up like precisely. It was insane.
She thinks it was good. It was.
No, it was good. I walked off the lot with a $35,000 Mercedes with nothing down. It was
What do you
good.
mean they were legit? They were phony.
I know, but they looked very legit.
Okay, so you buy the Mercedes with fake pay stubs, which you consider legit because you did the math right.
They looked pretty good, and I
Yeah.
can forward it to you because I still have them. In case.
No,
anyways.
I know you're really proud of them, but I don't need to see
I
it.
know. It was
And
one of my better
I know
moments.
you're proud of the math and all, and I'll give you an A on the math, but they were fake. You
Right.
stole Constance's checks. You did at Nordstrom's credit card. You opened a credit card in your name.
Yes.
Then you transfer money from her bank account. You steal her ATM card. The police are called 10 times. We're getting too close now. You flipped a Mercedes because you were high on Xanax. You opened a line of credit in her name. You opened another credit card in her name. And you now, because you lost the Mercedes, you bought a Chrysler with fake pay stubs.
Not with fake pay stubs that time. I don't know, got lucky, I guess.
She's been very lucky, Dr. Phil, that she's not in jail right now. Or dead.
Or illegal drugs to get her to come here.
They weren't. They were legal drugs. They were my drugs.
I'm sorry?
I had surgery not even a week ago, and they
Right.
gave me prescription pain medication. And yes, I did, Dr. Phil. I gave her a couple because I wanted her to get some help that she needs, and I want her.
Okay, so like she did the math right, so her pay stubs are legit. You gave her prescription drugs that she doesn't have a prescription for, so they're not illegal.
I'm sorry.
How
You're
do
right,
you
you're
spell
right.
felony?
Okay.
So
I
you're
get
now
it.
a dealer?
I get it. That's wrong. You're right.
Thank you.
I get it.
You give her money to buy drugs.
No, not knowingly. I give her money, true, but never for drugs, knowingly.
Mom, let's be honest with each other because I really want to make a change in her life. You're giving her money when you know damn well she's going to spend it on drugs. You know it, and I know it, and she knows it, and she knows you know it, and you know she knows you know it. You're just pretending not to know it.
Okay, I can go with that. I can go with
Are
that.
you telling me that you have not given her money when you knew damn well it was not going for whatever crap she was telling you? You knew she was going to take it and spend it on drugs.
I have given her money. She tells me it's for such and such thing, and I don't know. I believe her.
You give her $60 for a hamburger and you don't know that she's going to spend it on drugs. Come on. Does she, come on, you two know what's going on here. One of you be honest. At least one of you be honest.
I'm an open book person. I'll tell you how it is. She doesn't see me like that. She doesn't know who I am. My mother doesn't know who I am. She thinks I'm crap, liar, this, that. When really, she doesn't know who I am.
You are all about.
You're telling
the look
me that when
and
you give your
what's
mother
important in
some
life.
crap story about what you need, that she doesn't know you're going to go spend that money on drugs.
Oh, she knows. And she tells herself that maybe she actually believes her lies to make herself feel better. Absolutely. Completely.
The last thing I would ever want to do is hand her money saying, here, go buy drugs.
Here's a very simple solution. You don't give a drug addict cash.
Thank you. And you know what? I'm not giving her any more money. It's stopping.
You just don't give a drug addict
No.
cash. I don't care if they say, my hair's on fire, I need to buy an extinguisher. You don't give a drug
You know what?
addict cash.
Dr. Phil, when she was ending her job, in order for her to get to work, I bought gas cards, and I would pay for her cigarettes and hand her packs of
And you
cigarettes.
know what she does with those gas cards? She takes them to a kiosk, she cashes them in, and gets money for them. Do you not?
Absolutely.
How'd you know about that? I just found out about those.
Because I didn't just come in on a load of turnips. That's how I know about that. Next, we're going to add someone to the discussion. Constance's best friend since childhood, Sylvie. She wrote to me begging to help, not just one, but both of these women. Dr. Phil, I'm going to write every day until you get sick of me, she says. Well, I'm not sick of you at all, Sylvie. I want to meet you when we come back. Candace says her mother is overbearing, mentally abusive, and stalks her all because she is jealous of her. Constance's friend of 50 years, Sylvie, says Candace has always been a big brat, a snotty child that has turned into a cruel animal.
Constance and Candace are toxic together. If Candace does not get her way, watch out. She can just become insane. She'll punch doors and scream and yell. She's broken car windows. She just becomes extremely violent. Candace told me that she was taking Oxycontin, Norco, and smoking heroin. Constance has never allowed her to hit rock bottom. She's feeding the fire, and Candace is raging. One of them is going to die.
What do you think's going on here? What can you add to this narrative?
It is true that Constance keeps Candace within her grasp. She's allowed boyfriends to live there that have used and stolen from her. Candace also can be extremely violent and bully her mother. I won't say she's ever put her hands on her that I've seen, but I know she's very capable of being extremely abusive to her mother. And her mother lives in fear, but she won't let Candace
Do you
go.
bully your mother sometimes?
I have. I would never touch my mom. I would never touch her.
She's
But
she's come up-
verbally, yes, I've
she
been
comes up
violent to
against me.
scare her.
Her body gets close to me, and
Did I hear you right? You not only
Finish my sentence.
are having your daughter live with you, she's moving in her drug addict boyfriends?
actually, Dr. Phil, I was thinking about it on this show, and she's had her last 3 boyfriends at my home.
This is so dysfunctional.
Oh, I
but
know
let me tell you something that you don't want to hear, but I'm going to tell you anyway. You think you're doing this for her, to protect her, to keep her safe. But the truth is, you're doing this for you.
It's your own selfish motives.
You're doing this to quell your own anxiety. It's like, at least I know where she is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you feel better in the moment.
What?
And in the process, you have contributed to her being crippled.
I've said she's totally crippled. I didn't take it as me doing that, though.
You have to be willing to stop that.
I am today, Dr. Phil. I'm exhausted.
You're making all of this sacrifice, and it is not giving her a shot at a future. You're making the sacrifice, and she doesn't have a shot at a future. You're making the sacrifice, and all it means is that both of you are going down in flames.
I totally agree.
It's like, would you push your kid out from in front of a bus if it meant saving their life? You say, sure, of course I would. But would you just jump in front and both of you get hit if you knew it wasn't going to save either one of you? That's what you're doing here. You're not helping her.
I'm done. I'm exhausted.
That leaves this to you. If your mother listens to me, this gravy train is over. You can't live there anymore because you're not going to be allowed to live there anymore. So what are you going to do?
Well, exactly, Dr. Phil. What do? You just throw me out to like the wolves. So what do you do with no job, no money? How would I live on my own?
Well,
how would I even know how
you
to?
Stop being a narcissistic know-it-all. For one thing, seriously, you see things through your point of view.
That's what I know. And that's the problem, is like, I feel like when you are who you are, that is who you are. And it's very difficult to change. I've tried changing.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, Candace is going to tell me her alternative. And I am all ears when we come back. I'm back with 29-year-old Candace, who is living with her mother, Constance. And I am telling Constance, you are not helping Candace by continuing to give her a soft place to fall, continuing to fund her, continuing to enable her to do a lifestyle that is not just drugs and alcohol, but also criminal behavior where she escapes having to become a productive member, contributing member of society. Candace says, so what are you going to just throw me to the wolves? You cannot cripple me my whole life. You cannot fail to teach me the fundamental skills of being an adult and then one day just stand up and say, I screwed up, but I'm going to stop screwing up, so you're just out there to the wolves. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I made your argument better than you did, right?
You actually did very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
I should have my own show.
I don't know why you don't.
So, what's your alternative?
Get a job.
Okay, let's go over your resume. If I pulled up your history, I would see multiple arrests.
They've been expunged.
I would see well, I found them. I would see all of these assaults. I would see all of these drugs. You're smoking meth, right?
I was, yes.
Yeah, like as recently as a week ago.
A few, yeah.
The problem with meth, the problem with all of this is it puts some miles on you.
Right.
Here's before and after.
Oh, I've seen them.
That was 22 to 28.
Jeez. Wow.
The age here is shockingly just a matter of a few years.
Oh my God.
A matter of a few years. This is a 2.5-year age difference.
See, I don't get that. I don't understand how...
There's a lot you don't get.
I know. You're absolutely right. You're completely right. It plays tricks on you completely.
Yeah. You also say you know exactly when it fell apart and you started doing drugs.
Losing my father impacted my life to the point where my life has not ever been the same. The day of my junior prom, I was actually walking out to get my hair done. The phone rang, and it was a hospital calling to say that my dad had a heart attack and he died. At that point, I completely shut down, and that's when I started to use drugs. My mother went straight back to work shortly after he passed away. That was definitely the point where her and I should have gotten closer, and I needed her as my mom, and she was not there for me.
What would he want me to tell you?
My dad would probably like what you would have to say to me right now. He would say, knock the off, Candace, and move on. That's what he would say to me.
So he wouldn't be proud of what you're doing?
No, he would not.
He would want better for you?
Yep.
Well, when we come back, we're going to find out what Candace wants for Candace. We'll be right back. Tell both of you where I think we are and what I think needs to happen, okay?
Okay.
I think you love your daughter, no question about it. I think you are a very well-intentioned mother. I think you have lost your way. You're well-intentioned, but you've created a perfect storm for disaster here. You need to stop doing that. You need to get your daughter out of your house and not give her a place to come and crash with her drug addict boyfriends, for God's sakes. How dumb is that? That means change the locks, whatever.
Right.
You have a serious addiction problem, and it coexists with some emotional disorders. And what I am willing to do for you is to set you up into a dual diagnosis treatment center that will truly find out what all is going on with you addiction-wise, mentally, and emotionally, and get you, for once in your life, no kidding, clean and sober and emotionally balanced. And then I am willing to get you a life coach that will work with you to make you a no-kidding life plan where you stand independently and can be proud of what you do. Is this some 28-day wonder program? It absolutely is not. This is probably going to take you a year. The first thing I would do would be to ship you off to a place in South Padre Island, Texas, called Hannah House, which is part of the Origins Behavioral Health Care. It's the nation's leading dual diagnosis treatment center. It's absolutely beautiful. It's on the beach down on South Padre Island. They have places in West Palm Beach. Robert Park, I asked him to fly in here today. He's the executive vice president from there. So you tell me, what do you want to do?
1 year out of my life.
I don't know. I would not say a year out of your life. I would say it would be the first year of your life. Don't you think we can put all this together for her?
Absolutely. Yeah, we want her to live up to her full potential, and we can show you how to do that.
Deal?
Yes. Oh, Dr. Phil, I can hardly wait to see.
All right. Deal?
Deal.
All right. I want to thank all of my guests, and a special thanks to Robert Park, Executive Vice President of Origins Behavioral Health Care Center. We will see you next time. Thanks so much. Silver, thank you. Robert, thanks, man.
Hi, Dr. Phil. I just wanted to apologize for not being able to accept the treatment. I am currently involved in a trial involving somebody that I was in a relationship with. Given any other time, I would have been on that plane right away. I wanted to thank you, and I appreciate all that you've done as well.
the season premiere of the #1 talk show in daytime. Dr. Phil is next.
All new today. It's one of the biggest unsolved murders of the century.
6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey was found murdered in her home.
She'd been battered, strangled, and sexually abused.
Immediately, suspicion fell on the family, but the parents and son Burke always proclaimed their innocence.
The night that your sister JonBenet was killed, there were only 3 people in that house that we know the identity of. You're the one that has never spoken.
JonBenet's brother, Burke Ramsey, finally breaks his silence.
This Christmas is the 20-year anniversary.
The killer has never been found.
Some people have speculated that you've been hiding out for this last 20 years. What do you say to that? Do you remember the last time you saw JonBenet alive?
JonBenet Ramsey's skull was fractured on the right side of her head.
Did you hit your sister over the head with a baseball bat or a flashlight? Had you ever violently attacked her before? Did you murder your sister, JonBenet?
The exclusive interview, 20 years in the making. Now, from Boulder, Colorado, it's the season premiere of Dr. Phil.
For 2 decades, the unsolved murder of 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey has remained one of the most mysterious cold cases in history. The child beauty queen's body was found the day after Christmas in 1996, here in the basement of her family's 15-room mansion in Boulder, Colorado. Today, the home is surrounded by an iron fence and hidden by trees. It even has a new address. But nothing can erase the haunting image of the path decorated with candy canes for Christmas, dusted with snow, surrounded by police tape.
911 emergency. Police, by 515th Street.
To those of you who may want to ask, let me address it very directly. I did not kill my daughter, JonBenet.
We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please. Explain to me what's going on, okay?
Let me assure you that I did not kill JonBenet.
Okay, what's your name? Are you Kathy Ramsey? I'm the mother. Oh my God! Please.
I did not have anything to do with it. I love that child with my whole of my heart and soul.
It's the mysterious murder case of an American sweetheart who's responsible for the death of little JonBenet.
In the 35 years I've been doing this, I've never seen a case like the unsolved murder of JonBenet Ramsey.
If you look at the Ramsey case, this went far beyond what you would expect. There were more mistakes made in this case than any other case I've ever seen.
I believe that when the case first started, that it didn't look like the Ramseys did this.
Within a week, it was clear that the Boulder Police Department had made up its mind. It was someone in the household. Game, set, match.
John Ramsey and his wife had been under this cloud of suspicion ever since then.
When a child is murdered, police have learned to look first at family members. Bizarre circumstances and unexplained evidence caused police to immediately focus their investigation on the Ramsey family. In the 20 years since this innocent child was so tragically murdered, every angle, every shred of evidence has been evaluated and reevaluated, except one. There has been one critically important missing link. JonBenet's older brother, Burke Ramsey. Burke Ramsey was the only other person known to be in the house the night his sister was murdered, and he has never spoken publicly. He has never answered questions about what happened in this house the night his sister was murdered, until today.
Christmas Day, 1996, the Ramsey family had spent the evening at a holiday party. Patsy helped tuck 6-year-old JonBenet into bed. That may have been the last time they saw their daughter alive. 5:30 a.m. the next morning, Patsy woke up early because the family was planning to leave town on vacation. She walked down the back stairs from her third-floor bedroom in their 15-room Tudor-style home in Boulder, Colorado.
And she went down the spiral staircase, and 3/4 of the way through the spiral staircase, she saw papers on the floor and started to read them.
The ransom note. Patsy skimmed the words. "We've kidnapped your daughter. Don't call the police or we'll kill her. Get $118,000.
Patsy was by the phone, so I said, call police.
What's going on there, ma'am? We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please.
About 20 minutes later, police arrived, followed by the FBI. For the next 6 hours, the Ramseys waited for the kidnapper's promised call. 2 different searches of the house turned up nothing.
It was a Boulder police officer, Linda Arndt, who told John to go with his friend Fleet White and search the house one more time.
They get to the basement, they go down the hallway towards the wine cellar, and he hits the light switch, and he immediately sees his daughter wrapped in the blanket laying on the floor. He notices her hands are tied. There was a piece of duct tape across John Benet's mouth. He sees a garrote around the neck. This was not a kidnapping. This was a murder.
You have a 2.5-page ransom note, a strangulation, sexual abuse. It just doesn't happen this way.
Strange story in Colorado where a 6-year-old girl thought to be a kidnap victim has been found dead.
The child beauty queen was found in the basement of her family's home the day after Christmas.
It's also reported the girl was strangled with a noose-like cord and her mouth taped, and there were no signs of a break-in.
JonBenét Ramsey's skull was fractured on the right side of her head.
She'd been battered, strangled, and sexually abused.
There was no sign of forced entry, no footprints in the snow. The rope used to choke JonBenét was tightened with a paintbrush from her mother's hobby kit. An alleged ransom note was written on a pad of paper from inside the house.
The brutal killing of a pageant princess is raising troubling questions in many minds about child beauty contests.
I think the JonBenét Ramsey case would have stayed a local story if it wasn't for one element. And that was those pageant videos that were released within a few days after the tragedy. Those videos showed a certain amount of sexuality from a young child.
People try to make it seem ugly and something that it wasn't, and I just know how much fun it was. What a good time we had together doing it.
There were some negative connotations to these images, you know, whether the child had been pushed too far and whether this was symptomatic of some end result that caused the death of this child.
For 2 weeks now in Boulder, Colorado, an American tragedy has been unfolding. Tonight, no new clues in the search for answers.
The setting for this murder was not typical. Very affluent, exclusive neighborhood, beautiful multi-million-dollar home. All of these things led many people to believe, well, there can't be a bad guy walking around a place like that. It must be the parents or her brother.
The evidence that points to the Ramseys, I think, is the fact that they were in the house at the time of the murder.
Immediately, suspicion fell on the family, but the parents and son Burke always proclaimed their innocence.
The list of suspects narrows. Soon, there will be no one on the list but you.
JonBenét Ramsey's parents hired attorneys shortly after their 6-year-old child was murdered and have communicated with police only through legal representatives.
It has been said that you and Patsy did not cooperate with the police, that you in fact obstructed this investigation.
Well, that's totally false. Police came to our home and we talked to them for, it seemed like hours. And they started this, well, we need you to come down to the police station. And by now we had media trucks out in front, and Patsy was in no condition to be moved. She was in bad shape.
As we've been reporting, police in Boulder, Colorado finally
have begun full-length interrogations of the little girl's parents.
I'm talking about scientific evidence.
I don't give a flying flip how scientific it is. Go back to the damn drawing board. I didn't do it.
They were still suspects in the eyes of the public and the police, who continued to focus almost exclusively on them, particularly Patsy.
The theory was that John Bonet was killed by Patsy over bedwetting, and that the garrote was constructed for some reason to make it look like it was a kidnap killing gone bad. That was all part of the staging.
The garrote had intricate, complex, even unusual knotting. Someone knew what they were doing.
There are several key people investigators would like to question.
Tops on the list, John and Patsy Ramsey, as well as their son Burke.
It's been nearly 20 years since 6-year-old John Bonet Ramsey was found dead in her parents' home, her killer never brought to justice.
In the enduring mystery of Jean Bonet's murder, Burke Ramsey was the 9-year-old brother who by all accounts slept soundly in his room that Christmas of 1996, while his sister's skull was fractured and she was strangled nearby.
Her parents, John and Patsy, and 9-year-old brother Burke, were investigated but never charged.
So the question becomes, who? And the only other person in the house that night that we know of was Burke Ramsey.
So, does Jean Bonet's brother Burke have some memory locked away that could unlock the case?
Some people said that you had gone to great lengths to distance Burke from the Boulder police investigation.
Not at all. I've heard rumors where, well, we were hiding Burke because he was this crazy kid. Well, that wasn't the case at all. Yes, we were hiding him from the media, but no, we didn't hide him from anybody. We protected him, we hid him, we were worried about his physical safety. I mean, we were under assault by the media and press and cameras and people we didn't know who they were. We just didn't want Burke recognized because he was growing up. He was not a 9-year-old boy anymore. He was an 11-year-old, 12-year-old. We wanted him to have a normal life.
Would you respect our privacy, please?
It's being reported that investigators want to interview Jean Bonet's brother, Burke. But why?
The experts say investigators want to re-interview Burke in the hope that he can help them piece together some new information.
Detectives want to talk to John Bonet's 23-year-old brother, Burke, who was 9 at the time of the murder.
Many people bandied about the theory that Burke himself could be responsible for the murder.
As recently as 2010, investigators wanted to interview Burke Ramsey again. Burke did not speak to them. Why, 14 years after John Bonet's death, did detectives still want to talk to him? Today, Burke breaks his 20-year silence and finally tells us what he knows about those tragic events. This was a no-holds-barred interview. Nothing was off limits. He agreed to answer any and all questions and to do so without a lawyer present. The night that your sister John Bonet was killed, there were 3 people in that house that we know the identity of, and you're one of those 3, you, your mother, and your father. But in the 20 years that have gone by, you're the one that has never spoken. You've never talked about this publicly, and you've decided to do so now. My question for you is why now? And why here?
For a long time, the media basically made our lives crazy. I mean, it's hard to miss the cameras and news trucks in your front yard, and we'd go to the supermarket sometimes and there'd be a tabloid, you know, with my picture, Jean Bonet's picture, plastered on the front. They would follow us around. Seeing that as a little kid, it's just kind of chaotic nightmare. So I was pretty skeptical of like any sort of media. Like it just made me a very private person. As to why I'm doing it now, it's the 20th anniversary and there's apparently still a lot of attention around it.
Well, my goal here is that you answer all the questions. You said I can ask you anything. Nothing is off limits. You speak about this one time. Some people have speculated that your parents weren't protecting you, they were hiding you.
Yeah.
And that for this last 20 years that you've been hiding out instead of just choosing not to speak. What do you say to that?
For the last 20 years, I wanted to grow up like a normal kid, which does not include like going in front of TV cameras.
But if you had answered the curiosity, might that have stopped it all?
To me, it seemed like it would rouse it all up again.
I want to ask you some tough questions, but first, let's turn the hands of time back a little bit. When you look back, was Christmas like a really big deal at your house?
Yeah. Decorations in the yard, on the inside. My parents would throw a party every year.
Hello, I'm Patsy Ramsey. Daddy's not here, but this is John Bonet. She's 4, Burke is 7, and we'd like to welcome you to our home and wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Now, 2 days before John Bonet was murdered, that was when the party was at your house, right?
Yeah.
And you had people tour the house?
I think there was like a Boulder home tour thing. Like, we weren't the only people that did it.
Right, they went house to house.
Yeah.
And looked at all the decorations. So when do you guys open gifts? That Christmas Eve or Christmas morning?
Christmas morning.
Do you remember what you did that morning?
I remember peeking down, and I remember seeing like an electric train and a bike, and I was super excited.
Was John Bonet with you?
Yeah.
Did she peek too?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Did you get what you had asked for that year?
Nintendo 64.
And what did John Bonet get?
I think she got a big dollhouse. We both got bikes.
It was a typical Christmas morning. A lot of neighbor kids came over after a while, and they were in and out of the house, but just a nice Christmas day.
John Bonet got a doll for Christmas, right?
Patsy had sent the doll company a picture of John Bonet, and they made a doll that supposedly looked like her. Patsy saw the doll lying in a box and kind of startled her.
What did she say?
She said it looked like John Bonet was in a coffin.
The highlight of the 25th was really a visit for dinner at Fleet and Priscilla White's home.
Fleet White was John Ramsey's best friend. Fleet White became a suspect and was interviewed 18 times by the authorities.
When you came home that night, John Bonet had fallen asleep on the ride home, so you came.
And Patsy went up later and I think put her pajamas on and tucked her in.
Christmas night in the Ramsey house. John Bonet is tucked snugly into her bed, dreaming about her brand new bike. John and Patsy Ramsey are down the hall in their room, presumably fast asleep. Brother Burke is sleeping in his room.
Do you remember the last time you saw John Bonet alive? Do you remember the last time you saw John Bonet alive?
I want to say it was in the car on the way back from the Whites.
I think this is the last picture that was ever taken of her alive.
I don't remember the hair being that long, but...
It's hard to believe that a short time later, she would be dead.
Yeah.
Where was your bedroom in relation to hers?
So it was like kind of around the corner, through the playroom, down the hall.
And this is your room?
Yep.
After you went to bed, did you hear anything out of the ordinary at all during the night?
No.
You don't recall waking up, hearing anything in retrospect?
No.
Melody Stanton, who lives diagonally across the street from the Ramseys, says she heard shrieks of agony coming from the Ramsey house 14 hours before John Bonet's body was found in the basement.
And she thought it came from the lower part of the house. So if that in fact is the child's scream, then the child's life was taken in the wee hours of the 26th of December.
The next morning, you were heading off for a vacation trip over the Christmas holidays, right?
We had reservations to go on a family cruise with my older children. We both got up. Patsy had gotten dressed. I was shaving.
The first thing I remember is waking up, getting dressed hurriedly, going downstairs.
We weren't going to wake the kids up until we were absolutely ready to go because they could stay in their pajamas and jump in the car.
And I go down the spiral staircase, and there on one of the runs of the stair is the 3-page ransom note.
Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We have your daughter in our possession. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Chilling words from the JonBenet Ramsey ransom note, reportedly found by Patsy Ramsey on these stairs inside their home.
She came down these stairs and seen the ransom note on the bottom step.
And I ran back upstairs and pushed open her bedroom door, and she was gone.
I heard Patsy scream my name, and I knew something was seriously wrong.
Where did the scream come from?
It was either the first or second floor. Our bedroom was kind of up in an attic, and she had this ransom note.
It clearly said, you know, we have your daughter. It explained who they were. They wanted a certain amount of money. Don't call the police, we're watching you. If you do this, we're going to behead your daughter.
The note remains perhaps the most critical and perplexing piece of evidence in the ongoing murder investigation.
If you can, take me through that moment when she turns and hands you this ransom note.
It's hard to take it all in. As I recall, it was like, what? Your daughter's been taken, and it's a horrible, horrible feeling. I had that punch in the stomach feeling, and then I was trying to absorb what was said in this 3 pages of scribbling.
The ransom note threw everybody off. It was written on a notepad belonging to the Ramseys with one of their pens, and it took at least 15 minutes to write it. The ransom demand was for $118,000, which was exactly what John's Christmas bonus was.
Colorado newspapers are reporting that a practice ransom note was found, written on paper found in the Ramsey home.
So there's a lot of suspicion around the note. If somebody is going to kidnap somebody, by the way, you bring the ransom note already written. You don't write it inside the house.
I had it laid out on the floor because I was trying to read it all at once. Patsy was by the phone, so I said, call the police.
911 emergency. Police. What's going on by 515th Street? What's going on there, man? We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please.
By the time the first officer arrived at the scene, the house is filled with Patsy and John's friends. They called the Whites, they called Fernies, they called their pastor, the minister of their church. You know, the police made some very strategic mistakes. There may have been hair fibers from the perpetrator. There may have been footprints on the carpet. There may have been fingerprints. So now you have everybody going all over the house. You know, the whole place is like a little bit of like a train station by then.
The police come in a squad car.
All right.
Did that concern you? It says 2 men are watching your daughter. If you even talk to a stray dog,
no,
she's dead.
I would have called the Army if I could have.
But they pulled up in a police cruiser.
Well, and they didn't know what was going on exactly, and so I don't fault them for that.
So you're okay at that point with what they're doing?
I want to get as much help as I can lay my hands on to find my child.
Do you remember waking up that morning?
Yep. The first thing I remember is my mom bursting in my room, really frantic, saying like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Running around my room looking for JonBenet. At that point, I was awake.
Why did you feel scared? You know, when mom came rushing in?
I felt like something bad.
She left and could kind of hear her freaking out.
I heard mom like going to the door.
Did you go down and see what was going on?
Stay in bed.
And the next thing I remember is a police officer coming to my room and shining a flashlight.
It was still dark when this happened?
Yeah, I was just laying there.
What time did she come in?
Early, I don't remember.
Had to be, it was still dark, so it had to be pretty early. Did she turn on the light when she came in?
I don't remember if she did or not.
How long after she came in before the police officer came in?
Under an hour.
So she comes in, and were you asleep when she came in? Did she wake you up?
She woke me up.
And she's running around your room saying, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. What else did she say? Did you know she was looking for JonBenet?
I remember her saying, where's my baby, where's my baby?
So after she left, what did you do?
I just laid there and didn't really know what else to do.
It seems really odd to me that you're 9 years old and your mother comes in the room in seemingly the middle of the night because it's dark and says, where's my baby, where's my baby? And then runs out of the room and you just lay there. It seems really odd to me that you're 9 years old and your mother comes in the room in seemingly the middle of the night because it's dark and says, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby?" And then runs out of the room and you just lay there, as opposed to getting up and going out and saying, "What's going on?" And then a police officer comes in your room, which I assume is the first time in your entire life that a police officer has come in your room with a flashlight, looking around, and you still just stay in bed.
To be fair, I didn't know it was a police officer. It's just kind of...
But somebody comes in your room with a flashlight, and you never get up and say, "What is going on here?"
I guess I kind of like to avoid conflict, or I don't know, I guess I just felt safer there.
Were you curious?
I'm not the worry type. I guess part of me doesn't want to know what's going on.
Critics would say you weren't curious because you already knew. He didn't have to get up and go check because he knew exactly what had happened.
I was scared, I think. I mean, I didn't know if there's some bad guy downstairs that my dad was chasing off with a gun, or, I had no idea.
Were you concerned leaving him alone in the room?
Well,
knowing that his sister had been taken.
Yeah, we knew where he was. He was safe, and at that point, that's what we wanted to be sure of. We were so focused on JonBenet being gone, I guess.
So 2 hours later, a detective comes.
Linda Arndt.
Okay. And was she helpful?
Yeah, I mean, she was trying to sort things out, and I remember she sat me down and said, when you talk to this person they call, you've got to insist you hear JonBenet's voice. So I was, as ready as I could be for that call. And of course, 10 o'clock came and went.
So at the time, you felt like she was being helpful. You had no idea that she considered you.
Oh, no.
To be the culprit.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Linda Arndt, the lead detective that was there, went on national television a few months ago and said, "I didn't act right, I was too calm, cordial."
Did it surprise you to hear that was her reaction?
I don't remember being cordial. She was there to help me. I was grateful for her being there. So if she interpreted that as being cordial, so be it. She had never been in a situation like that as a police officer, I learned later. In retrospect, we called the police. We thought they knew what they were doing, and they didn't have a clue. I called the police to help me and to find my child. Never, ever crossed my mind that she was suspicious of my demeanor. And some of the observations made that I read about later were nonsense. John casually looked through the mail. I was looking for another communication from the kidnapper. The police should have done that. But they observed me doing it, and so John was so cold and callous that he was going through the mail looking at his bill. So that's nonsense.
So who came and got you eventually?
I think it was my dad that came in.
You do go downstairs. Describe that scene for me. You eventually do go downstairs. Describe that scene for me.
I just remember, I have an image in my head of the kitchen, and it was really early morning, and there were a few people around that I didn't really know. There might have been a police car, I think. I just remember kind of walking slowly downstairs and everybody just being like, "Hey, we're going to take you to Fleet."
Somebody eventually told you JonBenet's been kidnapped, right?
They
Somebody
didn't say
eventually
kidnapped. They said she's missing.
Missing.
Yeah.
And who told you that?
I remember a detective or something coming in and interviewing me. He told me.
Were you scared for JonBenet yet?
I think I was trying to be positive.
Do you remember them asking you if you knew what happened to your sister?
I told the guy, I was like, she's probably hiding somewhere. Did you check the whole house? Or maybe she's outside, or...
Who suggested for you to search the house?
Linda Arndt. She said, take Fleet White with you and search the house, see if you notice anything out of the ordinary.
He should not have been allowed to search that house by himself. He could have tampered with evidence without even knowing that it was evidence. That's a critical mistake.
So where did you begin?
Went down to the basement.
Why start there?
It's the most logical entry point. Went into we called it the train room. The kids had a train set up in this. There was a window open. There was a suitcase sitting under the window, which shouldn't have been there. And I noted that and mentioned it to Fleet. I said, that shouldn't be there.
You knew there was a broken window downstairs, right?
Well, I had broken that glass and then opened the window to get in previous summer because I'd left my key and Patsy was gone. I thought we had it fixed, but we never went in the basement, so I didn't know that. So I wasn't surprised that the glass was broken, but I was surprised that the window was open.
So you come to this door and it's closed. And what's in that door?
Well, we called it the wine cellar, but there's never any wine in it. It was a junk room. I was just going through methodically every square inch of that basement. And I opened the door and there's John Bonet.
Take me through the moment that your eyes fell on John Bonet's face as she was lying there on the floor. Did you know she was dead?
No, not at that point. I mean, I had this rush of, thank God I found her. And it was just this overwhelming sense of joy that I'd found my child. And her hands were tied over her head. She had tape on her mouth. I immediately took the tape off. Her eyes were closed.
Could you, at that point, perceive her injuries at the time? Could you see her neck and her head?
No, I didn't. There was a red spot on her throat. I didn't see the garrote because it was too deeply embedded in her skin. And I just was hoping she'd wake up and begin to realize that she wasn't gonna, and just started to scream. I picked her up, carried her upstairs. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just horrified. I couldn't speak, I was just screaming, and I took her upstairs and laid her down. I guess I was taking her to help in my mind. I didn't perhaps want to accept that she was dead. Linda Arndt knelt down beside her as I was and felt for her pulse and looked me in the eye and said, she's dead. And that's when I was just stunned. She looked very peaceful.
One of our friends ran into the room and said, we need an ambulance. Tried to dial 911, and I kept screaming, what is it, what is it? And, you know, then in just a couple minutes, then I walked into the living room.
What Linda Arndt said is that your eyes met and she knew in that moment you killed your daughter.
Linda Arndt has stated publicly that when she saw John with John Bonet, it was like 1,000 lights going off in her mind. She knew exactly who had killed John Bonet.
At one point, she said she was so worried that she was in the presence of a bad person that she was counting the bullets that she had on her body, and she had 18 bullets because she feared she might have to shoot her way out of there.
Frightening and incompetent, beyond incompetent. Shouldn't have been a police officer.
There's a detective, Linda Arndt, who deals with various emotional cases, not a homicide detective, not a kidnapping detective, because the Boulder Police Department didn't have those experts.
Is your interpretation that she thought she was going to have to shoot everybody? That
Yeah,
she was all in on
I think her comment was, I looked around and counted the people and then counted the bullets in my gun. I mean, this is crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff.
When was the next time you saw your parents?
The next thing I remember is going to another one of our friends' houses. Everyone was really sad over there, and my dad came and told me John Bonet is in heaven now, and he started crying. And then I started crying.
And I saw him was sad and my dad told me that John Bonet is in heaven.
So you go from thinking she's missing to she's been found, she's actually dead, she's in heaven. Your dad tells you
My dad just said she's in heaven now, and I was kind of like, how is that possible? Like,
and what did you say?
I just started crying. I don't think I said anything. I didn't believe it at first.
You must have realized this has gone way bad.
Are Patsy Ramsey's writings getting red flagged by Boulder cops?
3 days after she gave police a 4th handwriting sample, the mother of JonBenet Ramsey is being asked for a 5th sample.
The ransom note was a big monkey wrench in this case, and it threw everybody off. The police thought Patsy wrote it.
Your mother found a ransom note. Have you read it?
I don't think I've read the whole thing. I've definitely seen pictures of it, though.
I think law enforcement found it odd that there would be a ransom note at a murder scene. Some police have been suspect that your mother actually wrote this. Does that look like her handwriting? Tomorrow, Burke finally addresses the strange and unexplained evidence that has led people to speculate that he murdered his sister. You do not want to miss it. And the investigation into JonBenet's death brought massive media coverage, and with that came wild speculation. Did Patsy Ramsey write the ransom note? If so, who was she covering up for? Herself? Or the one person left on earth she would do anything to protect? Her son, Burke. I want to thank CBS 48 Hours for the use of their archival footage on this case. From Boulder, Colorado, thanks for watching.
I want to put more water in here. Make sure we have enough hot water. At the Tractor Supply. My goodness. I love every second of that. Pour custard into cake pan. Transfer to oven and pour enough boiling water into roasting pan to come halfway up the sides of the cake. You go to a lot of, you go at the Tractor Supply, Cat, or where when you I know that the kids have done like in front of grocery stores too, right? Also, if anybody wants cookies in America and wants them shipped, that was in Kansas. We also pet a lot of dogs. Amazing. All right. It is time to add the custard to the thing. And at least I was semi-smart and put this in a thing with a lip. I'm glad I did buy this big thing, because this is going to be perfect. Not one curdled egg. The little vultures. You know you love it. Just words it. That's all good, Echidna. You words it all you need. So this is going to take like an hour to cook. I'm just waiting for this water to boil. Just waiting for the water to boil. What did I get on my iPad? I do like being near people who care about each other. That is nice. If I could have a better kitchen, which honestly, this kitchen isn't that bad. My kitchen could be a lot worse. But if I could be somewhere with better, like, kitchen, but still have my own place. I'd have to learn how to drive, too. Imagine having to learn how to drive. Oh, crap. I have to make something else. Fuck me. We're going to make the drizzle for the chocolate. For the cake. I forgot about that. And I forgot about the pinoles. All right. Rob, I don't know if you're still out there. 10 out of 10. And any other Australian, obviously. Maddie made me buy them, and they're good. They're almost gone is the sad part. All right. I mean, there's definitely people who are near me who I don't see and I don't know. You know what I mean? But, all right. Let's get this into the oven. I'm so in love with you. Oh my god, that water all evaporated. Fabulous. You're not going to be able to see this. I'm sorry. You make me. And then we're going to put this. I'm going to make more hot water for this, honestly. Because that happens. And it needs more. Hold on. Hot, hot, hot. All right, let's add a timer for 55 minutes. Turn that back on. Move this out of the way. We did 2 recipes this weekend with, it's time, well, it's in an hour, it'll be time for flan. We did 2 recipes this weekend with cookbooks instead of internet recipes. That's like a lot for me. I still have an onion and plenty of garlic. Fabulous, fabulous. You make me feel. So the pie recipe came from my friend Panda, but I am going rogue. One second. What he gave me was a steak and ale pie. Here, I'm finding the link. Give me a second. But I don't like beer, so I did not use beer. But I did use red wine. And I changed up some of the vegetables. We made the crust the same, the bottom crust. And what I'm going to do is I found a different, I wanted to do something different for the top. So I'm going to make like a Southern style biscuit, but put blue cheese in it and, make that the crust. Almost like to a certain extent, almost like a chicken and dumplings, but steak and blue cheese biscuit. Like, you know what I mean? And there's going to be mustard in it. I'm getting on the plane. I will post this recipe. You can see what I did and I'll show you. Like, look. So I made the filling yesterday. The crust is in the fridge chilling up, and we're gonna make the biscuits in a little bit. But this is the filling. It's nice and thick. It's got a good amount of fat on it, but to laminate the shit is murder, yeah. Yeah. There's mushrooms, carrots, leeks is what I added, and mushrooms, and onions, obviously, and garlic. Oh, God, it tastes really good. This is going to be delicious. This is going to be delicious. I just want this to kind of, like, move over here. Casey! Hi, Casey. How are you? Hi, Fly Johnson. Don't make them. It's very fair. I've only made like a full Hi, Furry Forge. How are you? Hi, Casey. How was the rest of the stream? Hi, Saul. How you doing, Fly Johnson? Welcome in. All right. All right. So I just put a citrus flan in the oven. We are